Blue wave rising, red flag unfurled.
They won the vote, then changed the rules.
The Red Tide, in theaters now.
The unthinkable just happened. New York City, the crown jewel of American capitalism, just fell to communism. Last night at 9:03 p.m., Decision Desk called it. A man his own party calls a Marxist now controls Wall Street, Times Square, and 9% of America's economy. But it gets worse. This was not an isolated victory. Democrats swept Virginia, New Jersey, and major cities across the East Coast in what looks like a coordinated communist takeover. Even CNN can't spin this one. The new mayor's radical agenda makes AOC look like Ronald Reagan. And what's coming next will shock you, so do not look away. While socialist mayors promise free health care that'll have you waiting months for basic treatment, smart Americans are taking health into their own hands. In a recent clinical trial, women who took 2.5 grams of collagen peptides daily saw a 25% reduction in eye wrinkle depth and 29% boost in skin hydration in just 8 weeks. That's real results, not government promises. This is why I use BioTrust Ageless Multi-Collagen. While Mamdani is planning Soviet-style clinics with year-long wait lists, I'm getting proven results with 5 premium types of collagen that actually work. Smoother skin, better joint health, stronger bones, without begging bureaucrats for permission. For a limited time, grab BioTrust Ageless Multi-Collagen for 51% off at healthwithgary.com. Take control of your health before communism takes it from you. Now, just 24 hours ago, CNN's Laura Coates was talking about Zohran Mamdani. Oh, he's not a communist. He's a Democrat socialist. Well, Byron Donalds had to step in and set the record straight.
When you put in communist and, yes, communist policies, that's what Zohran Mamdani is talking about.
He's not a communist.
It never works.
Socialist. He says he's a Democratic
I can't tell what the difference is.
Well, he can describe
Explain what the difference is.
He can describe the differences for you. The socialism is not the same basis of communism in this country. You know that quite well.
The man wants to create government-run grocery stores. He wants free transportation, both of which are impossible to do. Because how is
that communism is a trigger word to try to undermine all of his policies. He's not. He says he's. I
don't need to undermine his policies. His policies undermine himself.
Well,
because they've never worked. Here's all I want him to do. Tell me where they've ever worked. They've never worked. He knows that. I knows that. But what he's trying to do is promise everybody something that they can't have. And the truth is there is no free lunch, just like there's no free bus. Because you know what happens when you have a free bus? There's nobody there to fix it or to drive it. He knows that. I know that. You know that. America does know it. And it's unfortunate that the city of New York, my former home city, is probably going to have to go through this. When you put in...
New York has fallen. Democrats swept a trio of races in the first major election since Trump regained the presidency, elevating a new generation of leaders and giving the beleaguered party a shot of momentum ahead of next year's congressional elections. That's Reuters reporting. Here's the communist himself.
For as long as we can remember, the working people of New York have been told by the wealthy and the well-connected that power does not belong in their hands. Fingers bruised from lifting boxes on the warehouse floor, palms calloused from delivery bike handlebars, knuckles scarred with kitchen burns. These are not hands that have been allowed to hold power. And yet over the last 12 months, you have dared to reach for something greater.
You know, we should like overdub him in German or something. That would be great. Can someone do that for me? Speaker Johnson says it perfectly. Zohran Mamdani is without a doubt the biggest win for socialism in the history of our country.
Claimed socialist happened in New York City last night. For the first time in American history, an avowed, openly proclaimed socialist has been elected as the mayor of America's largest city. Zohran Mamdani is without a doubt the biggest win for socialism in the history of the country, and it is the biggest loss for the American people. He is truly a committed Marxist. And the results of that race tell you everything you need to know about where the Democrats and their party are headed. Happened in New York City last night.
Headed straight to hell. Steve Scalise nuking Zohran Mamdani.
Sure, they're going to be anybody wait to see what those free buses are going to look like. I'm sure they're going to be incredibly safe and clean when you ride the free buses. Can anybody wait to see what those government-run grocery stores are going to look like.
Oh, my goodness.
Shelves unstocked, expired food. I'm sure the friendliness of those employees that are government employees at those grocery stores. That's what socialism does. Socialism always overpromises and underdelivers. Anybody wait to...
Oh, this is going to be horrific to watch. Absolutely horrific. Who's going to pay for it all? I'd love to see where the money's going to come from. Oh, tax the rich, right? That's right. Tax the rich. 5 hours ago, Gunther Eagleman writes, Democrats are already backing off on their support of Mamdani. They know that his communist pipe dream will never work out in their favor. Kentucky Governor Beshear just refused to answer what he thought about Mamdani being the future of the party. He writes, even these dipshits know.
People saying that and they are their brand of Democrat, if you will, is they are moderate Democrats. I would not typically ask you about a mayor's race in New York, but given what happened last night, I do want to ask you about it. I mean, because it has raised questions about the direction of the Democratic Party going forward for midterms and potentially for presidential candidates in 28. Zohran Mamdani is a Democratic socialist. That is not your brand of politics in the Democratic Party, but has people saying that he is or should be the direction that the party is going. What do you think of his win, and do you think that he is a leader in the Democratic Party?
Look at that spread. He got 1 million votes to Cuomo's 800,000. Curtis Sliwa pulling 146,000 votes. Eric Adams pulling 6,000. I mean, if Sliwa and Adams had dropped out and those votes went to Cuomo, I mean, Cuomo could have had a chance. I mean, it would have been a lot closer. A lot closer. Mamdani 50.4 to Cuomo's 41.6. Oh man.
I think what we're seeing is it's less
again,
about.
I'm not a fan of Cuomo in any way, shape, or form. I mean, the guy's a dirtbag. But even Trump said that he would support Cuomo over this as the lesser of two evils. It's a shame that we even have to have this discussion about the lesser of two evils in New York City. But how many times have we had that discussion?
What people call themselves and more about what they're focused on. The winner there in the New York mayor's race was unquestionably more focused on people's struggles, on the inability to afford housing, on the inability to pay the bills at the end of the week and at the end of the month. And I think people are less focused right now on even the policy proposals, but what they want is someone committed to trying to address it. And I think you see that across all the races, and that should be a wake-up call, not just to Democrats, but to everybody. You know, people are concerned the American dream is slipping away, and that's a huge threat to the country. You know, we have to believe that if we work hard and we play by the rules, we can get ahead. But I think people turning out to vote are saying, wait a minute, I'm doing that, and I still can't afford a home or an apartment at the same age that my parents could. I'm worried that the next prescription that I or my children need will put me under. I think that's where the American people are, and there's lots of different ways to speak to that. But now all the winners from last night need to do what Democratic governors do, and that's govern well and get results. Running and winning is great, but we've got to deliver for the American people.
And we are going to see a delivery in New York City very soon. A delivery of destruction. Kayleigh McEnany, 17 hours ago, we are in uncharted waters with this Democrat Party.
We are in uncharted waters with this Democratic Party, and I am not overstating this. It's a frightening prospect that as we sit here in New York City, $2.3 trillion is the size of this economy, 9% of the entire American economy, bigger than the economy of Canada, just in this city, could be setting out on a grand social experiment of socialism that has demonstrably failed in the Soviet Union and beyond. But let's try it here in 10% of the United States economy, putting aside the morality of the issue that I began with. Yeah. We are in uncharted waters.
Yeah. Officials from New York Board of Elections have announced that more than 2 million votes were recorded, marking the first time this milestone has been reached since 1969. Steve Scalise responds to residents who will flee socialism in New York City and other blue states. Remember we did that report? About 1 million people are planning to leave New York City now.
Where else are people in New York when they realize how bad socialism is? They can just leave like they've been doing for years. They can move to states like Florida, to Texas. They can even come to Louisiana. But if they ruin America, if they're able to take hold with socialism in America, where else are people going to go? There is no plan B to this great United States of America, and we're not going to let socialism take over in this great country. New York, when they realize how bad socialism...
Where do you go? At least we have states that are free. But what happens when it takes over the entire nation? You can't just, get in the Mayflower and decide to go to another country. This is it, folks. This is the last stand for freedom. C3 writes, Democrats elected a woman that wouldn't disavow someone fantasizing about killing political opponents and their children. Democrats won't nuke the filibuster immediately if they ever... Totally won't nuke the filibuster. He's making a joke. They elected a woman that wouldn't disavow.
Announce them as...
Thank you, Ms. Bamberger. I didn't hear an answer there on the endorsement issue, so I want to just make sure. Will you continue to endorse Jay Jones to be the next Attorney General of Virginia? And were you aware of these text messages before they released? You have 30 seconds.
In fact, it appears that it was those who released the text messages and held them for years. So the public was unaware who had knowledge of these text messages for many years.
What did you do about it?
I learned of these text messages the day that they came out, and I denounced them as soon as I learned of them.
She denounces murder.
And importantly, at this point, as we move forward, the voters now have this information that was withheld for them.
You're running
presumably for political reasons. But the voters now have the information, and it is up to voters to make an individual choice based on this information.
Ms. Bamberger, I understand what you're saying about the voters, but for you yourself, do you still continue to endorse Jay Jones? 15 seconds, yes or no?
We are all running our individual races. I believe my opponent has said that about her lieutenant governor nominee. And it's up to every person to make their own decision. I am running my race to serve Virginia, and that is what I intend to do.
And she won the race?
Ms. Bamberger.
Oh, my goodness.
We just want to clarify, what you're saying is that as of now, you still endorse Jay Jones as Attorney General?
I'm saying as of now, it's up to every voter to make their own individual decision. I am running for governor. I am accountable for the words that I say, for the acts that I take, for the policies that I have put.
Shut up! Oh! If you don't know, Jay Jones, he actually fantasizing about murdering his opponent, his wife and children. Zohran Mamdani, elected mayor of New York. Yeah. Goodbye, New York. And decision desk, this is 19 hours ago. Ghazala Hashami wins Virginia lieutenant governor's election. Ghazala Hashami. Now, remember this. President Trump, when he was visiting Alligator Alcatraz, had this to say about Zohran Mamdani.
To communist Mr. President, your beloved New York City. Your beloved New York City may well be led by a communist soon, Zohran Mamdani, who in his nomination speech said he will defy ICE and will not allow ICE to arrest criminal aliens in New York City. Your message to communist Zohran Mamdani.
Well, then we'll have to arrest him. Look, we don't need a communist in this country, but if we have one, I'm going to be watching over him very carefully on behalf of the nation. We send him money. We send him all the things that he needs to run a government. And by the way, they get about 3 times what you get, Ron, if you look at the per capita, Florida gets 1/3 of what New York gets in terms of the numbers. Why don't you give us those numbers?
Yeah, well,
because that's what we should send him.
Yeah, well, like sometimes people say Florida gets more because they count Social Security recipients, but that's not money.
So Trump says he will arrest Zohran Mamdani if he blocks ICE. Let's just hope that comes true. Decision Desk projects Mickey Sherrill, New Jersey governor election. There you have her. And here's a man who lived under communism issuing a warning. Caitlin Bennett posted this 24 hours ago for the New Yorkers about to elect Mamdani, and who did.
Are you the one that was in the car right there?
Yes.
You pulled
I'm
over
watching
to say
you
hi.
for the past 3 days. So many times. It's amazing. I'm from communism.
Okay.
Okay? This is crazy. Like, seriously. I don't know what they want to resist. I have no clue.
I can't get in.
Yeah, sure. Of course. I've been to communism, all of that stuff, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Where are you from?
Hungary.
Oh, wow.
So back in the days, it was it was actually communist.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it sucked. So anybody, I don't understand those people in this country who actually are saying.
What do you think about Mamdani about to win and be the mayor of New York, a proud
God
communist?
bless New York.
Yeah, that's why we're here in Florida,
listen,
right?
I live behind the Iron Curtain.
Mm-hmm.
Making things like that to want socialism and want communism is one of the dumbest things anybody can say in this country. And I would literally make it as a college requirement that you have to go for 3 months as a volunteer to a third world country to actually notice how good you have it.
Yeah.
Because that's the only solution. Because what's going on in colleges, it's ridiculous. They don't really understand anything whatsoever.
How do you think we got to the point where a communist, proud, out there communist, is about to become the mayor of the largest city in our country?
We made it happen. Us. We wanted better for the children. So we let them do whatever they want, and you simply did not educate
Dude, someone shut that person up with a bell already. My goodness.
them. I mean, I have a friend of mine who has no idea what Auschwitz is. 42 years old.
Really?
Explain that to me. How can you possibly go through life of 42 years of not knowing what that is? That's the scariest thing I have ever seen in my life. Yeah. Nothing more scarier than that one. I don't even...
Colleges are the breeding grounds of these ideologies that are now flourishing in these states. Here is Jay Jones, the winner of the Attorney General spot in Virginia, the one who sent the text messages about murdering his opponents. Curtis Sliwa offering a stark warning to Zohran Mamdani.
Let me warn our new leader. If you try to implement socialism, if you try to render our police weak and impotent, if you forsake the people's public safety, we're not only organizing, but we are mobilizing, and we will become the mayor-elect and his supporters' worst enemies, worst nightmare. Yes. Let me warn.
Well, I hate to say it, but you didn't get that many votes, man. So I appreciate your passion. I agree with you. But something is wrong in that city if you can't get that many votes. Christian Menifee advancing to a runoff in the U.S. House special election for Texas' 18th congressional district. One more spot remains. Raw Egg Nationalists. What? This movement was made by... What? This is... He says it's not Marxist or doctrinaire socialism or Islamic radicalism. It's anti-white hatred.
Thank you to those so often forgotten by the politics of our city who made this movement their own. I speak of Yemeni bodega owners and Mexican abuelas. taxi drivers and Uzbek nurses, Trinidadian line cooks and Ethiopian aunties. Yes, aunties. To every New Yorker in Kensington and Midwood and Hunts Point.
Nope, no mention of the Italian or Irish there. Zohran Mamdani wins the election in New York. New Yorkers will learn the hard way what socialism is. Nicole Meliotakis says, bookmark this. CNN.
Afraid of the radical.
What would the story to be?
The story for tonight is actually that the Socialist Party is taking over the Democrat Party. And you know what? It was Andrew Cuomo. It was Kathy Hochul. It were the Democrats that were so afraid of their shadows, so afraid of the radical left. People like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez kept moving to satisfy them, and now they've been eaten alive. So this is a lesson for the Democrat Party. They should have fought for their party. They never fought for their party. They catered to the radical left, and now we're going to see, by the way, for people who think that they're voting for affordability here with Mamdani, a guy who believes in socialism, we're going to learn the hard way in New York City what socialism is. Your taxes will go up, and if you pay property taxes, you won't be able to afford to live in your home. And if you guess what you rent, it's going to be passed on to you in the form of your rent. Yeah. Mandates, fees, regulations, surcharges. We've seen it in this state, in this city, under one-party rule for the last decade. It costs money. It gets passed on to you. So if you think you're going to get a free ride with Mamdani, you're going to learn the hard way.
That's why the answer to the affordability.
You're going to learn the hard way. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is the nightmare that we warned you about. When communism takes root in America's biggest city, it metastasizes everywhere. Zohran Mamdani isn't hiding his agenda. He's promising government-run grocery stores, wealth confiscation, and the systematic destruction of free enterprise. Virginia just elected an attorney general who fantasized about murdering Republicans and their children. New Jersey's new governor makes Bernie Sanders look moderate. It's not politics anymore. It's a communist revolution at the ballot box. Even Democrats are running scared. Kentucky's governor refused to say if Mamdani represents their party's future. They know they've unleashed something they can't control. So here's the question for the comments. Is America ready to fight back against this communist plague? Yes or no? Sound off in the comments. And while communists celebrate, support real American values with some Next News merch. It's linked down below because the resistance starts now.